Hello and welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the CEO and founder of Senior Savvy, and you can find me right here every Tuesday interviewing people who are engaged in age tech innovation. We've got a great show planned out for you, but before I bring my guests on, let's go ahead and run our intro. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I'm thrilled today to bring on a guest. He's been on before, and Joe Velderman. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Abbie. It's great to be here.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thrilled to have you here. And you also have a resident with you today, John Schwenke. Is that right?
That's right. John Schwanke is a Cypress Cove resident, and just really excited and overjoyed, really, to have him be a part of our conversation today.
Me too, because anytime we can have an operator on, anytime we can have a resident on, someone who's in the community and who's interacting with the residents and interacting at the community, I think that just makes a huge difference. It's one thing to just talk about technology, but then to implement it and to put it in action, I think is a huge benefit for our audience. So if you're not familiar with Joe, Joe is the VP of Innovation at Cypress Living. And a couple months ago, I was on LinkedIn and I just saw that Joe had posted something about the smart home innovation that they've been piloting at his community. I thought, let's talk about it. So John and Joe, John, maybe I messed it up. Sorry. If you guys please can tell us about the origination of, or the origins of the smart home technology that you're using, that would be great.
Sure. We have been on about a 3-year journey, Abbie, looking at smart home technology for our community. We have a premier luxury life plan community here in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Florida, called Cypress Cove. And we're really fortunate to be able to serve about 650 or so older adults in our community. And, as the age of the Internet of Things has started to really emerge here over the last decade, we just thought that this would be a tremendous benefit to a lot of our residents, and maybe even an expectation as we continue to move forward. But it also benefits us as a provider in helping us to understand and get to know our residents a little bit more. So we've been looking hard at different smart home technologies for, like I said, about 3 years. At one point, we had the crazy idea that we might even develop our own smart home technology. I'm pretty glad.
Why not, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty glad we didn't do that, because that would have been a heavy lift. But we ultimately decided about 1.5 years ago to partner with a company called K4 Connect, a terrific partner of ours. And they provide a really end-to-end experience around not only smart home, but resident app engagement, digital interactive displays, digital signage, as well as channel insertion for our community. So we can really kind of centralize a lot of communication and broadcast that out through multiple different avenues. And smart home is one of those. So it's been a terrific partnership. We're really excited about the work that we're doing with K4, and we're excited about being pretty deep into this pilot now. I think we've got about 75 of our 377 apartments activated with smart home at this point, and it's been working really well for us.
Okay, excellent. So you said about 75 of the units are using this right now, right?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
great.
correct.
And so let's talk about where this started and how you got it off the ground. Because what I hear from a lot of operators is that they want to do this, but they don't know how to get it started, and they don't know how to get it off the ground. And I know you said earlier that you have a resident tech committee. Is that something that you would recommend for this type of innovation?
We do. We have a resident technology committee. It's actually one of our most popular committees. I think there's even been some heated discussion amongst residents about getting on that committee. So we do some exciting things, with our residents who are on that committee, and they were really instrumental in helping us paint a vision for what smart home looks like here at Cypress Cove, as well as helping us vet the different technologies that we looked at when we were choosing a vendor and a partner to work with us on the smart home front. I would absolutely recommend other providers consider adopting a resident technology committee.
Yeah, there's so much wisdom and value in that collective committee for sure. And so tell us, John, how did you get involved in this pilot?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you live in a life plan community that has 600 residents and we all share a common dining room, it may be multiple dining rooms, but yay, I see the same people every day. And guess what they talk about at the table? Have you heard? Well, rumors. Now, I'm not a huge fan of rumors. So usually when I hear a rumor that doesn't make a lot of sense, I'll go to the source and find out the answer. And when K4 Connect was being introduced, smart home as we call it, there was a lot of resistance. Now, maybe the organization didn't know it, but the residents knew it, and I could feel it, and I didn't understand it. Because K4 Connect, as explained by the founder and the CEO of K4 Connect, it is not a new application, a new invention. It is an application that has figured out a way to take a whole bunch of existing technology that can benefit seniors and put it in one package. All right. So it includes Amazon Alexa. I mean, Alexa, turn on my light. Alexa, do this. So some of the rumors that were going around were, well, why do I want this in my house? I've already got Alexa and da, 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 da. So I thought, should I tell them the YouTube story?
Yeah,
all right. So one of my hobbies is I'm a YouTuber. I love making YouTubes, and I mostly make them for friends and family. So I may not have a huge subscriber base. I've got maybe 1,700 subscribers. And I thought I would like to interview the key players and have them give me a tour of one of the apartments is already smart home. Joe Velderman and his assistant Dee. So here I show up with my camera, and I'm actually prepared to ask some tough questions. But I wasn't, they were questions like, I know it's got that capability, but it actually in action in this unit? Yes, it is. Let me demonstrate. And what I found out, and I show it in the videos, is a lot of seniors, especially super seniors, they're just reluctant to get into technology. They just, yes, I've got a smartphone, but how do I put K4 on it? Yeah, they just don't want to mess with it. Well, one of the things I learned on this tour was when you have Alexa and you have the what do you call the control screen?
The show device.
Yeah. And what's the dimension on that?
It's an 8-inch screen.
8-inch screen. All right. So if I say, as an example, now I can do this on my computer. I can do it on my smartphone. I can talk to my smartphone. But in smart home, when it's in the apartment, all I say is, Alexa, what are the activities for today? Well, not only will most of the activities start coming down the screen, but she's also saying what they are.
Yeah. Do you know with those screens, you can hold something up like a prescription bottle or a spice bottle and ask it to tell you what's on there?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You can, yeah. It's a feature of Amazon. So K4 takes the Echo devices and really kind of privatizes them. So Amazon doesn't quite get the information that they would get if you bought a device off of the shelf. And to that end, some of those features that are native out of the box with the devices are limited in scope under K4, which is good and bad. But but largely it helps us from a provisioning standpoint, not have to worry about trying to provision all of those devices, individually. It helps us just streamline that whole process quite a bit.
Now, that is a route that many people do take. Many operators have taken in order to fit the bill of this smart home technology inquiry by using something that's, it may not be right out of the box, and it's probably connected to their resident engagement app, but that it has limited abilities. And so if a resident wanted to add skills to that, could
Yeah.
they do that?
So the residents don't have the ability with a K4 managed Echo device to add their own skills because there's technically not a Amazon account associated with the Echo device.
Mhm.
It's just a K4 managed device. It still runs the Echo operating system, and you can still do many of the Echo functions, but you can't associate it to a Amazon shopping list or Echo or a Amazon Prime account or whatever.
But some of the value things you can do, as example, is a phone call. Many assisted living places, you in the morning to let everybody know you're okay. You've got a button to push that I'm okay. If you're in a distress situation, you got to get to a cord and pull the cord. And so one of the things that I think is the biggest feature of all is I can be anywhere in my
Yeah.
apartment and say, Alexa, call security. Alexa, call concierge. Alexa, call, and it'll happen, and you'll get a response literally within minutes.
Yeah, and John's referring to really that connection piece that we found so valuable with smart home, right? So in a traditional setting, you may have a resident going to push a button or pull a string to indicate to the community that they're alive and well and awake for the day, right? And with smart home, we're able to leverage basically any transaction, I call it, that happens within the home. It might be a light switch going on or off. It might be a thermostat change. It might be some sort of a motion sense that happens in the home, or it might be some sort of a Echo invocation. All of those count as a transaction that would check a resident in for the day, right? So from a safety perspective, that just kind of modernizes that whole experience quite a bit, and I think restores a little bit of dignity to that process. And then, as John mentioned, there's this really great safety component to calling for help as well, right? So we know that people don't always need help when they happen to be laying right next to a pull cord, and so this gives the opportunity for a resident living at Cypress Cove to use their voice to call for help if they need help without having to be right next to a device.
And there's a choice of phone numbers. You can call family. You could put a friend's number in there. A lot of conveniences. I'm not sure, just my personal feeling, I'd want to be having medicines involved under the decision of the occupant of the apartment.
Yeah,
If that made any sense at all.
one thing that I'm constantly encouraging my students to do is to begin to use those digital assistants. I'm not going to say their names as their new BFF, because over time it's going to serve them so much when they've lost dexterity in their fingers to look something up on their phone, or they've lost their eyesight due to macular degeneration. You can continue to speak your needs to connect and to get information to one of these digital assistants. And so I'm always telling people, start getting to know it today so that when you need it tomorrow, it already knows your vocabulary.
Yep, 100%, Abby, and I think that kind of speaks to the convenience factor. So we have the 3 C's of smart home. I mentioned connection earlier. I think there's a real convenience element to smart home as well as a concierge element. So for us, that convenience element is really centered around being able to use your voice to control your home. And again, I think about even myself. If I have to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, it's kind of an inconvenient experience for me, right? I wake up, the room's pitch black. I have to find my way to the bathroom. I turn on a light. The light comes on. It's at 100%. It near blinds me. It's just an uncomfortable experience. But if I can use my voice to say, Echo, turn on the light in the bathroom, now all of a sudden the light is on. My pathway to the bathroom is illuminated, and I'm not even out of bed yet. right? And so it becomes an opportunity to mitigate risk in that setting, and it really just provides for a more comfortable experience. And then concierge, kind of the third C for us, being able to ask these artificial intelligence devices virtually any question about the community, provides a really rich concierge experience and alleviates some of the burden of our staff having to answer some of those questions. So we used to take like 50 phone calls a day at the
Is
front
the
desk
mail-in,
from people.
right?
They would just ask, is the mail in?
Yeah.
And it sounds like a 30-second question, but really, it's a 2-minute conversation times
Mhm.
50. That's 100 minutes a day that we were spending answering the same question. Now, K4 knows when the mail gets dropped off, and people can just say, Echo, is the mail in today? And she'll say, yes, it's been delivered, or no, it hasn't. And it mitigates the number of phone calls that we have.
It's great. It's great. So I wanted to answer and address a question that one of our viewers asked. Natalie asked, does it also include any passive monitoring technology?
Great question. So we're working with K4 to identify some other technologies that may be well served to be integrated.
Mhm.
I've got a device actually off screen here in my cabinet called a VAR imaging device. It's made by a company overseas, but it uses ultra wideband radar detection and LiDAR to sense whether or not a person has fallen or not. There's no cameras, nothing like that. So we're not really invading privacy, but it senses whether or not a person has fallen, and it could loop in the Echo device to ask the person if they've fallen or not. And then if they have, or if there hasn't been a response, it could automatically call for help. So it's kind of focused on keeping people, again, safe in their home and using some sensor-based technology to sense that. I think we're going to see a lot more contactless monitoring devices coming out.
Yep.
And we'll have to evaluate whether or not it's part of the smart home platform or not. It may be more chronic condition oriented, but if we could get some vitals from people on an occasional basis, it may help to more acutely treat any chronic conditions that they may be struggling with. So I think we're very interested in that, but we're kind of cautiously pursuing that, knowing that that may not be the first purpose for that technology for us.
I think what ties to that, though, is in the way that they've set up smart home here, the resident has a choice on some of the devices, what type you want. As an example, for our home, we wanted to have a motion detector device in the bathroom. It's not a television camera, it's a motion sensor. To me, makes a lot of sense. I can't imagine why everybody my age wouldn't want that. But some people are uncomfortable with that. So that is a passive device that you can add.
Yeah. And I've also heard of some that are connecting with the speaker sound in the Echoes, so that can pick up audio that would detect a fall also.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you introduce a microphone into the home, what sort of information you can collect. And I think we've only begun to see the tip of the iceberg on that, especially in the age of artificial intelligence that we're moving into. But I remember, early on in maybe 2021, when all of us were wrestling with COVID-19, I think it was the Massachusetts Institute of Technology had done a massive study using Echo devices to sense whether or not somebody's cough had a specific signature around COVID or not. And they were able to predict whether or not somebody, may have been exposed or diagnosed with COVID based off of the sound that their Echo device heard when they coughed, with fairly accurate accuracy, right? And so that's a use case that we may be able to use. Maybe we check for those types of things, or count coughs or something like that. But also, I think as people interact with the artificial intelligence using their voice, we may be able to sense like tone or emotion behind the voice, and do like a sentiment analysis on the voice that's being heard, to see if that person is feeling happy or sad or depressed or lonely or any of those types of things, right?
I'd take it. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it's great what you're doing. And so, John, I want to know from you how the adoption has been in the community and what kind of objections do you hear?
What kind of objections did I hear?
Hmm.
They were mostly totally misunderstanding and not realizing the security benefit to this thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so, interestingly, when I put the YouTube video, I ended up making a second one because of the response that we got. But when I put the first one on, it got 350 views in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Now, that is above average for when I post to YouTube. It usually builds over time, but just it was almost like it was being devoured. And I don't know because I don't see the business end of this, but I understand orders were up after that video went on.
Yeah, we've got, I think we've got about 80 residents right now who are in queue to have their home be converted into smart homes. So we're really excited about the adoption and the excitement that you've been able to help us build.
Yeah, what I hear you saying then, and what I want to convey to an operator is if you can find someone, a resident who can champion the cause for you, it's coming from someone who's living there, who's able to see and experience and communicate the benefits. That's going to get you closer to your goal.
That's kind of where the tech committee comes in that Joe was talking about earlier, why it's beneficial to have a tech committee who
Mhm.
hopefully will become the way of spreading the information. That's the way it worked here.
Yeah, they're influencers for
Mhm.
us in many ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That is great. So tell me, guys, I want to hear from both of you. What are you excited for in this area, and what do you wish the technology could do but doesn't?
um, so I guess I'll go first. If
Yeah,
that's all
because
right.
I'm still thinking of what it would be.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned before, I think that we're really midway through the first inning of this new artificial intelligence era, right? And I think a lot of us have played with tools like ChatGPT or maybe watched the Microsoft 365 videos about where they're taking their products to incorporate artificial intelligence. And this idea that generative artificial intelligence can really create a lot of content for us is very appealing to me. I think well, twofold. It helps us as a community, as an operator, provide meaningful content to our residents from a consumption perspective. But if we so choose to share information with an AI platform, I think it also helps us make better decisions, and it helps us provide more proactive and predictive care for the residents that we have the privilege of doing so. So I'm very excited about that. Cautiously optimistic, I'll say, that it will be a helpful and useful tool for us. I think we have a really big opportunity to think about how we responsibly use that technology. But I think it's very exciting based off of what it can do. And what do I wish the technology could do? I wish the technology was a little bit more connected to some of the other technologies that we use here. So, at Cypress Cove here, we have some robotic food runners in our restaurant. And I think that it would be super cool if we could use our voice to say, Echo, can I order a pizza and have it delivered to my room?
Yeah.
We prepare the pizza and put it on a robot and drive it to somebody's room. I just think that would be a super cool experience, not only from a resident perspective, but from an operator perspective too. It help us do so many more things throughout different times of the day for our residents. And that's what we're trying to create here, a really meaningful living environment for folks.
Excellent. Now, before I take your answer, John, I want to address the pricing. So is the pricing, what's the pricing like? And I know Jesse asked, is this something that most communities can afford, or is it still too new and too pricey?
Yeah, so I will say, there's a level of investment that's required. It's going to be different for every community based off of the size of the community, the number of units, and really kind of how deep they want to go with the technology. I think, you have to look at everything not just from a cost perspective, but from a value perspective, right? And I love that word value more than I love the word cost. So yes, there is a tangible cost, but in the context of the value that we're gaining from the technology, the cost is really rather marginal, right? I mean, it provides us with some competitive advantages that many of our operators up and down the street don't have. It provides us with opportunities to engage with our residents in ways that we've never had. It provides us with opportunities to know our residents more effectively.
Mhm.
And it provides our residents with experiences to engage with the community that they wouldn't be able to find at other places. So I think the value for us kind of outweighs the cost in many regards, but there is a cost associated with it.
Yeah. All right, John, you got your answer together?
What? Oh, my answer together? Well, I'm thinking about it, and there are extensions to K4 Connect the way we use it here, some of which I haven't even used yet, and some that are possible. What you're talking about, as an example, we have a medical clinic here. I mean, within the building for simple medical needs, and it would be very easy to incorporate a two-way chat with that. I mean, we're not doing that step yet, right? But it would be very easy to do with the technology that we currently have. Also, in the unit as it exists now, there are features that I haven't used. I think you've got like video chat, I think.
Yep, that just came out. So two-way video chat amongst residents living at a community through the
Imagine
Echo
how
devices.
much, how I was going to say how much fun. Well, fun and nice. Hey, let me show you this neat water bottle I got today. I mean, so there's things we can do with it here that we haven't even done yet. That's why I was having trouble coming up with something. And it's been incorporated for the residents. We don't have a per unit fee for this. It's if you live at Cypress Cove, it's would you like this? No, I can't imagine why anybody would say, nah, don't put it in my unit. Of course you want it in your unit.
Yeah, it's been, I think, part of the recipe for our success with adoption too. There's not a price tag barrier for folks to adopt it, right?
Yeah. And can people try it for 30 days or something like that to see if they like it?
So really, we're kind of more on an opt-out program here, Abbie. So for any new resident that moves in, they're offered that, they're getting it. And if they don't want it, we're going to leave the technology in their room. We're just going to simply turn it off. So light switches won't be smart; they'll just be regular light switches. The thermostat won't be smart; it will just be a regular thermostat. And the Echo devices won't exist. But we're really on a pretty resolute path to move forward with this across the entire community here, because we do feel it is very important.
100%. Yeah. And then John can also do some peer pressure with them, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
John, I know I've had a lot of people talk about your YouTube channel that have been watching the show. So we all want to know, what's your YouTube channel name, please?
YouTube.com/John Schwanke.
Okay. Okay. Spell it out loud for us, please.
Holy cow, somebody
SCH.
spelled it
There we
correctly.
go.
How
It's
did you
already on
manage
there. Perfect.
that?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jada.
you've
Thank
got the
you. Yeah,
spelling.
there you go.
You've
I
got the
think you're going
spelling
to get a
perfect.
lot more viewers, and probably at any time now you can start monetizing your account. Yeah. And Joe, what's the best way for people to connect with you if they have any questions about this?
I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. Always happy to answer questions or reach out to folks or have folks reach out to me if they have any questions or if I can be a resource for them.
Yeah, good. And are there any other resources that come to mind right now if you're as an operator that you're wanting to find out more, or understand more about this, or any clubs or magazines or mailing lists that you subscribe to, Joe?
Like John, I spend a little bit of time every week on YouTube following different tech channels. I think the stuff that Leo Laporte puts out on Twitch is pretty good, and some of the other tech YouTubers, MKBHD. I always learn about like new emerging technologies from some of those untraditional sources, and then think about how we can utilize some of those technologies here within Cypress. So I think there's a lot of great content digitally available for folks on platforms like YouTube, but there's also some great curated content within our industry too, whether it's through Leading Age, the Center for Aging Services Technology, the Thrive Center in Louisville, Senior Living Innovation Forum conference is a great event every year too, to kind of learn about new and emerging technologies and themes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show today. Keep up the good work. I'm totally impressed. Would love to check out what you're doing. And for our audience who engaged in the chat, thank you. Thank you. And we will see you all back here next week. See you then.
Thanks for having us.